Good morning, all. On behalf of Center for Research, Anna University, I request our director, Dr. M. Kandababu, to welcome our respected speaker of the session, Professor G.L. Samuel, with a fruit basket. Thank you, sir. Dr. G.L. Samuel is professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering at the Indian Institute of Technology, Madras, where he leads the Center of Excellence for Advanced Laser Material Processing and Surface Engineering. He completed his PhD at IIT Madras in 2001 and pursued postdoctoral fellowship at KN University, South Korea, before joining the faculty at IIT Madras in 2005. With expertise in micro-manufacturing, advanced laser material processing, and metrology, Dr. Samuel teaches a range of advanced courses at both undergraduate and postgraduate levels, including automation in manufacturing, artificial intelligence, micro-manufacturing technology, machining and metrology, as well as modeling and simulation. Dr. Samuel has a strong publication record and holds several patents in various areas of manufacturing. He has authored about 200 papers in international journals, international and national conferences. He has been in the editorial board of several reputed journals such as Journal of Micro-Manufacturing, International Journal of Precision Technology, Intelligent and Sustainable Manufacturing, etc. He has organized continuing education programs, workshops, and international conferences, fostering academic development and collaborations with universities worldwide, including Texas A&M University, University of North Carolina, USA, University of Technology, Sydney, Australia, Deakin University, Australia, École Centrale Nantes, France, etc. Dr. Samuel is a recipient of several awards, including Best Paper Awards in national and international conferences, Erasmus Mundus European Heritage Scholarship, funded by the European Commission, Key Technology Partner Visiting Fellow, University of Technology, Sydney, Australia, Fulbright Nehru Academic and Professional Excellence Fellowship, USA, to name a few. Now we welcome you, sir, for the session. Thank you.
Yeah, good morning to everyone. So hope you are having a good time here, learning about various things about research. I know that this is going to be useful to you. So you all have joined for PhD, is it? Okay. So we are going to take you through a journey of research, and I'm going to interact with you and ask you a few questions. So I want you to talk to me. Yeah, so the topic today which is given is overview of research. So we'd like to know like what is research and why we are doing and what all this about. So that is what will be today our aim. So my talk starts with a question. So what is research? So as you said, you all have already joined for research. So can you tell what is this research means? What is research? Yeah. Yeah, can someone tell what is research?
Identify the problem and get in knowledge, then give the results and like make the research.
Yeah, so they want to identify the problem and then find out what the solution is and try to give the answer. Yeah, anyone?
Systematic approach for analyzing something, what is existing and how it is existing.
Okay, so it is a systematic approach for knowing what is actually happening there and then try to understand. Does anybody know what is science means? How do you define science? What is science? Yeah? Can someone answer what is science? Science is the... Okay, science means it is the truth of existence. So how we are, so we are going to find out. So that is called as science. So that's what it said. Okay, science is nothing but whatever is there in the nature, we try to understand and then get the truth out of it. Now research, so the term actually it says re. Re means we mean that we are going to try it again and again. That means second time. So what research is defined as a search for knowledge or a systematic investigation to establish concepts and facts. So that is what is going to be research. So we know that you all have started your journey as a research scholar. So I don't want to say that research is something like a burden or anything, but it is a journey. So I'm also going to tell you a story toward then which shows that it is a journey. So thus you have begun the journey of research. But before I go into the details of what this research is all about, I would like to ask, why did you join for research? Why did you join for your PhD? Any answers? Yeah. So you want to say that research is a journey, lifelong journey. That's good. And you wanted to bring something important. Is that? Yeah. Anyone else? If you raise your hand, we'll give the mic. Yeah. So why did you join for PhD? Yes, sir.
It's basically for interest in a particular subject
Okay.
and explore further to acquire more knowledge and expand to the fringes of the subject and try to find something new.
Yeah, very good. So you have some interest in a subject that is called as a curiosity. I'm going to tell you toward then what should be the characteristics of a researcher so that you'll be a successful researcher in your life. Okay, so curiosity. So you wanted to know more about a particular subject, so you are going to do. Yeah, I think you are telling. Yeah. Next.
Make things easy for the society.
Okay, that's good. So you want to make the things easier and for the society. Okay, so for example, maybe there is a person with special abilities, he cannot climb the stairs. So you make something, a device, like an assistive device, so it will be able to help him. Okay, thus you are trying to help the society. Yeah, any one more answer? Why? Why did you join for PhD, or why do you want to do research? Anyone else? Quick. Yeah.
Because I want to solve a problem in my community.
Yeah, you want to solve a problem in a community. So there is a problem. So now, for example, if there is a society where they want to understand the type of problem which are being faced and then how to solve it. So that is where you are going. Yeah, I know that you are all belong to different branches. So who are all mechanical engineers? Civil, electrical, computer science, sciences and humanities. Yeah, I know that you're all from different branches, but each of them have actually a challenges in their own community or in their research area. So thus, we're all going to see why you are going to do research and how to do research and how you are going to excel. Maybe some of the responses are like that. Somebody wanted a quest for knowledge, so they want to know more about something. So then nobody said that it is a must for career, because you need to get promotions or go to the higher levels in your academic career. So you want to become a professor, you need that. Then for some, it is a process of fun and excitement. So even some of the children, nowadays we have seen that even at school levels, so they start exploring something, they want to find something, come up with a new idea, and then they want to make a startup and then become a unicorn. So all those people are all youngsters. So that comes out of just excitement and a fun. Then seeking recognition in peer community. So now actually this may be important when you go abroad and introduce yourself. If you say that I am Mr. So-and-so or Mrs. So-and-so, and then if you have a degree and then if you introduce yourself as a Dr. So-and-so, you have a respect. Okay, have you noticed that? Even in a society, in our country, or even you go abroad, so when you introduce yourself with the title doctor, so you are seen as something who are a special. So thus, it gives you a recognition in the peer community. Then some people actually gets motivated. So even I was never knowing that what is PhD when I was young. In rather, I didn't even heard about IIT when I started my engineering. Only later I came to know. But then later we heard one of our professor from our institute. So he did his PhD and he talked about IIT Madras and other institutions. So then I got the curiosity. Once I came only to see IIT Madras, how it will be. So when I entered there, so when I walked into the serene campus and then all those things, when I saw that, I got motivated telling that I need to come to this place. So thus, maybe others would be a motivation that you want to do your PhD. But sometimes they say, I don't know why I joined. I simply came and then joined without knowing what is PhD, but still I am able to excel. So that might be the reason. So somebody may say that I don't know what to do. So finally I have joined for the research. Now, you have already joined research. We need to know what is the kind of research and what is the type of research you are going to do. So each area and each field will have different ways how you approach towards the research. So there are different researches. Basically, if you look at science background, so what we do is we usually go for what is called as basic research. So what we call as the basic research. So here what we are going to search is that we are going to look at the fundamentals, and also it is also called as a pure research, where we try to understand the principles of how the things are happening in the nature. As someone said, so like a science background, I want to know. So we look at the organisms which are growing or the cells which are dividing. When I understand them, then only I'll be able to do something if I want to change. For example, so cancer research is one of the hot areas in the science and the medical field, what is happening. So unless we understand how these cell divisions are happening for the cancer cells and to what medicine it is going to be reacting, so all these things when you understand only, you'll be able to move forward. So thus, first we understand, then we find the remedy. So that is called as the basic research. Then we have what is called as the applied research. So where we are going to discover and interpret and develop methods for advancement of human knowledge. So usually for mechanical engineers, so we insist to the students that you should do what is called as the applied research. Maybe as a mechanical engineer, I can understand about the machines, machine tools, how they work, gears and motors and all these things. But if I don't make a product, if I'm not able to apply it for a particular product, so there is no use of it. So it won't be available. It won't be made as a product and made available to the society. My knowledge will be only to the thesis and maybe confined to a library. So thus, if I want to implement my findings, so whatever I have found out in a practical way, so we need to go for what is called as the applied research. Then we have what is called as a descriptive research. So this is an investigation kind of a research. I think we were conducting some interviews for some of your research scholars. So they told that their problem is to find out what are the problems which are faced by the young people when they are using the social media. So they want to know, was there any bullying or was there any problems? So they post something, then people will troll them, or maybe they bully them or give a wrong comment. So what is the impact of that on the youth, or what do you call as Zen? So Zen generation, the young generation, what is going to happen? If you want to investigate that and then describe it and say that this is the kind of a trend, so then we can caution the young people that you don't have to follow this, you can follow a different method. So thus, the descriptive research will be able to find out, investigate and know what is the problems. And also sometimes on the National Geography and other channels, when we look at some of the documentaries, you know what they do? Whenever the aircrafts fail or whenever there is an aircraft accident which happens, so the aircraft would have fallen, they investigate to find out what is the reason. You know, is it important or waste of time? Why? It's already, aircraft has fallen, some people died or some damage was already happened. So what is the use of investigating? Yeah. So first they want to pinpoint what is the cause. So once you know the cause, you will be able to rectify it. There was a very interesting investigation which happened. So what has happened is one aircraft. So those days actually when they join the parts of it, they have rivets. You know what is rivet? So they will have rivets. You know what is a rivet? So two sheets, they put it and then they rivet it. So now when the aircraft is subjected to a high velocity and when it is subjected to the wind force and when it is vibrating, so what is going to happen is it is going to be subjected to fatigue, what is called as a fatigue. You know what is fatigue? Okay, maybe mechanical engineers know. You know what is fatigue is? If you take a blade and then bend it once, will it break? You know the shaving blades, thin sheets. If you bend, it won't. But if you do like this, will it break? After some time, it breaks. That means, though you design a component for the required strength, it may not fail for the first time, but when you are going to subject it to a frequent loading, so it is going to fail. So that is what happened, and then the aircraft actually got cracked, and it was divided into two parts, and then air crash. So then they were able to find out the solution. How do we improve this? So they conduct the test and then they give what is called as the cyclic loading and test the material, and later they will be using that. So thus, when you investigate, we'll be able to solve so many problems, understand the problem, and then we'll be able to give the solution. Then the next one is analytical research. So it is primarily concerned with testing a hypothesis and specifying and interpreting relationships by analyzing the facts. So in analytical research, what we do is, we say that in mathematics, I think if there are people from mathematics, so you say that this is a statement, then you try to prove it, then if you can't prove it, so you say that the statement what you have given is a wrong. Hypothesis means a proposition. So you try to give a hypothesis, then you analyze it, either you can prove it or you can disprove it. So thus, analytical research is also very important, and then the information whichever is available, you can use it and then find out the facts. Then experimental research. So this is actually most of our mechanical engineers, civil engineers, even electrical and other people. For us, this is very, very important. Whenever we tell an hypothesis, it is not just a theory, it is more a practical. So now even for our students, where I am from mechanical engineering, so if you say that, oh, I have done a modeling like this, so I have got beautiful results. So we use the finite element method, show beautiful pictures, and then if the student's project, as an examiners, what is the first question we'll ask? How do you know that your concept is going to work practically? Have you conducted any experiments and have you proved it? So that is what will be the first question we will ask. That means in experimental research, so you need to make a hypothesis, make a model, analyze it theoretically, then you need to prove it practically by conducting the experiments. And this is one of the most difficult actually research, because many times when you are conducting the experiments and when you get the theoretical results, do you think that they are going to match like that? Almost not. They will not. So what is going to happen is, when you are making a model, you make lot of assumptions. So okay, you say that the properties of the material are uniform, but practically if you take, it is not. Maybe even a simple test if you are trying to conduct, you assume that it is uniform, but now there may be a crack or some material inclusion there. Because of that, it may fail immediately and it won't withstand the results what you got there. So thus, experimental research is very, very crucial and important, and we need to carry out with good diligence. So there are several case studies, so by means of which we'll be able to say how our research has changed our lives. So one of the most important one and area, so where people have been working, is the automotive industry. So when we just move out of this university campus, we see so many cars and vehicles moving. So there are several challenges. How do you make the fuel more economical? So how do you reduce the cost and make these cars available, or even the two-wheelers available for the people? Then how do you recycle it? Then how do you avoid the emissions? Like this, there are n number of problems which are there. If you take the space, so aircrafts or even the space vehicles, so you take any area, there'll be challenges like this. How do we address? So if you need to address that, so we have to do the research and you will be able to make an impact on the society. If you just take an example of fuel, so we had initially the steam engine. Who invented steam engine? Yeah? Pardon? John? George Stephenson. So who found out the steam power? James Watt. Yeah, so thus people started looking at using the steam power for driving the vehicles or the motors. So then in the second revolution, you know what has happened? What was driving? It was electrical. So then the next generation, it was all became computers. Now if you look at automobiles, when you want to buy a car, so looking at mechanical features is one. But you know what else they do? So they look at whether this has a camera with a 360-degree view, or does it has an automatic gear, or what is the kind of a computer chip processing is there. And if you go to auto-driven cars like Tesla and all, so I was there last year in US, so where we got into one of the Tesla cars, and then the driver don't have to do anything. You just give the location where you want to reach and then press a button. You just leave your hands and keep talking to your friends, and it is going at a very high speed. So 70 miles per hour, so nearly 100 to 120 kilometers per hour speed it is going, and you are not even holding the car. So there it has the maps, it has all the cameras, it knows actually if there is any movement is there, and if there are any cars there, automatically it is braking. Once that moves, this is also moving. So it is all like, looks like a magic or a miracle, but these kind of things are possible. So it has all been incorporated with the electronics, chips, and artificial intelligence. So like a man, how he reacts to a particular situation, the car is reacting on its own. So thus, we'll be able to do that if we are able to do the right research. Then cost reduction. So every time we want to make it affordable to the community, so we have to look at how we can reduce the prices. Then recycling. Earlier, when you take these cards, nobody used to care. You know, when they make a product, they sell it. After that, it is the customer's responsibility to take care of that. But today, it is not the case. So the customer is the king. You have to take care of the product through its lifetime. And at the end of the life, it is the car manufacturer's responsibility to recycle it. Okay? Or the way how they dispose it, recycle it, and reuse it, refurbish it. So all these things are the responsibility. So we need to develop different methods because we are environmentally very cautious. So we need to take care of that. Then emissions. So earlier, have you seen the steam engines? So when the steam engines go, a lot of smoke will be coming. But today, if you manufacture a car, maybe with 1 liter of petrol, if you say, my car can travel for 200 kilometers, okay, with 1 liter. But then if it is giving smokes, will the society accept it? No, because we are conscious about the environment. So thus, we need to avoid the emissions. There are several regulations which are there. So even India, like Bharat, they have implemented different regulations. And the materials what we use. So nowadays, people are using composite materials, newer materials, advanced materials, lightweight materials. So thus, research actually plays a very, very important role. And even if you take our own lifestyle, do you think it has changed from 30 years back? Yes or no? Because we remember, I think Dr. Kandababu, we were all doing PhD in IIT Madras. So if you want to go home, you know what we do? Morning we'll take permission from the institute, go to Besant Nagar or to the T Nagar, stand in the queue there, then book our tickets and then come back. But nowadays what we do? We do it at a click of the cell phone sitting wherever we are. Okay? So even the banking. So we remember like when we were young, when my father was taking us to a tour to South India, so they had to take the money because there were no ATM cards, and if your bank account is in some place, you can't go to another bank and draw the money. So he had to take money. So some money packed and gave to my mother. So my father kept inside the pant. There is another secret pocket. So there they store. So like that in different bags, some money, because if a suitcase is lost, other money will be able to help. So they need to plan so much. But nowadays, you know what we hear? If a beggar on the road comes and asks, you see like this and get only the plastic cards and no change even. So even you go to walk to a tea stall, so they'll have a code and then you just pay it. So you're not even carrying a change. So that is the way how the lifestyle has been changed because of research. So thus, research has an impact, and you are the research scholars who need to find out something new that will make a difference to the next generation. Maybe you may not be able to see the impact of it, but at least the coming generation, the posterity will be able to see. So thus, a great responsibility is on you, and probably if you are good enough or lucky enough, you'll be able to see the fruits of it right in your lifetime. So thus, take this responsibility, do your research sincerely so that we can make a society better. And also one more example regarding this automobile. You know, the shape of the automobile is very, very important. So if you look at the old cars, so no, the Jeeps and all, they had like a square kind of a shape. Do you remember that? Jeeps. But if you look at the modern cars, they have a beautiful shape like this. Do you know why did they make like that? Aerodynamics. So what is aerodynamics? Whenever even an aircraft or a vehicle is moving at a high speed, you know what is actually taking all the energy? The resistance of the wind. So that takes all the energy. So if you want to overcome it, so you need to have an aerodynamic structure, so where the air flows very smoothly so that it is not going to oppose the movement of the vehicle, and thus our fuel efficiency will be good. But now the question is, how do you design that kind of a shape, and then how do you manufacture it? So this is actually the work of one of my students. So Hari Ganesh, who worked with me, and Professor Shanmugam, who is going to give a talk tomorrow. So there we designed, actually this shape is called as the freeform shape. So we need to design that shape. Okay, designing is fine. Now mathematically we have software. So then how do you machine it? So that is another complex thing. So unless you have a CNC, what is CNC? Computer numerically controlled machines, will not be able to manufacture it. And if you have only 3-axis control, it's not possible. So we have to make like 5-axis control. Then once you manufacture it, you have to check whether it is correct or not. So we need coordinate measuring machines and other advanced machining techniques. So thus, when you have a research, you want to make those aerofoil structures or aerodynamic structures. So designing is one aspect, manufacturing is another aspect, then inspecting another aspect, and finally implementing it. So all these steps are important, and the researchers have their role at every stage of this design and implementation. So thus the responsibility on the research scholars is very important. So we need to look at and address these kind of challenging problems. So thus, right from simple carts to the present vehicles, when you see, so we see a great change of things which are going to happen. So that is the reason they are very fuel efficient, and we are able to see the shape being changed. Then it's all good. So you heard different types of research, and then what is its importance, how it is transforming the whole life. And another good example is even right our computer. You know, when they invented the first computer, how big it was? Maybe half of this room size. And then it used to consume a power of 130 megawatts. That means something like you need a power plant to run that. But now we have a simple devices, small devices, which we can handle. So thus, the life has transformed so much. But how do you make it? How do you make it possible? So that is actually by using the research methodology. So we have a systematic way how we'll be able to achieve a goal. So there are few cases, like when Isaac Newton was sitting under a tree when an apple fell down. So he started thinking that, okay, how it fell down, why it didn't go up? Can it go up? When I drop this here, does it float, go up? No. Why? So he started thinking about that, and then the gravitational energy and gravitational power and all these things he was able to find out about the Earth's gravity and other things. But there, though it has happened accidentally, but it is not accident. So usually they say a proverb telling that the chance doesn't meet accidentally, but only it meets a prepared mind. So there would have been so many apples which would have been fallen before his generation, isn't it? Every day something is falling, but nobody thought about it, isn't it? Because his mind is prepared, so he was able to get the fruit out of it. So thus, even for a research scholars, so when you are doing something, you may see a critical or an important thing, but you may neglect it. Okay? You may think, oh, it is nothing. And you may think that, oh, something is going wrong. You repeat it or you change something and try to get the good results. No. Even sometimes, whenever our scholar says that, sir, I conducted the experiments, but it is not as written in the literature, it is different. When they say that, they say, come and say very sadly, telling that, sir, this result is not coming as somebody else did it. I'll say, no, it is a good thing. If something is different, you have a chance to investigate and find that, and then that becomes a good research. Okay? So thus, my advice to the research scholars is, have a prepared mind. So then sometimes the chance may come, or as the research defines, it is a more a systematic way, so you will be able to find the things. So thus, what is this research methodology and what are these methods? So research methodology is nothing but science of understanding how research is performed, and it is more a methodological. So it is not a randomly doing something like this, but you do it systematically. And there are research methods where we have behaviors and instruments used for selection and construction of these research techniques. So both need to be used for doing a good research. So you need research methodology and you need good research methods to carry out that. Methodology is your concept. Whenever you start attending your doctoral committee meetings or review meeting, the first thing what we ask is, do you have a research plan or do you have a research methodology? You have to write down and maybe make a beautiful flow chart, so that will tell you what you are going to do. So thus, always have a good research methodology, but at the same time, you need to have what is called as the research methods by using which you will be able to achieve that one. So thus, your research objectives and aims should be defined clearly, and then only you will be able to come at the research methodology. So what we tell to the students first is that as soon as you join your research, your PhD or even MS by research or any degree like this, we say that you first identify an area. Okay? So think that, oh, this area is very interesting to me. Then do what is called as literature review. So you have to see what people have done in the earlier years. It is not that for the first time you are doing that. There is something which is related to that would have been done earlier. So thus you need to do the literature survey, then find out what is not done. So that is called as a research gap. So we call it as a research gap. Do the literature survey, read different literature, books, maybe articles, so whatever is possible, and then get the information what is already done and see what is not done. So if somebody says that not much work has been done in this particular area, you should be happy. You can identify that. Sometimes people say that no one worked in this problem. That may not be true. So there might be some attempt which has been made. So always we advise the research scholars, never write in your research gap telling that nobody did this. There might be somebody somewhere. So maybe only English, you would have looked at English literature. There may be German or other language, Chinese or in other languages, there may be papers. So we have not seen it fully. So you say that very few attempts have been made in this, and thus I am going to do that. Then the next step is write the methodology. Usually make a flow chart. That would be much better than writing in 1,000 words, isn't it? So if you make a picture and a diagram, you tell what is your problem, so how you are going to do that, and what is the expected results. So you make a beautiful chart, so that will tell us. Then in your research objectives, you have to say specifically what you are going to do and what you are going to measure and what is going to achieve. And you also have to specify what is the time limit. So you all have a time. You can't say that I'll take 15 years, 20 years to do the research, because we're all time bound. So you have to say that, so this is my 3 years plan. So I'm going to finish it in 3 years or 4 years. So you have to tell the time also, and what you are going to do, how you are going to achieve that, and finally when I achieve it, what is going to be the end results. Like for example, if somebody are designing a flight, they should say, my concept is that I'm going to make something to fly. So then this is the way how I'm going to make. I'm going to study the Bernoulli's principle, and then I'm going to make the wings in this way, and then I'm going to make it fly. So what happens when the aircrafts, we call it, so when you are going to fly, so the travel time reduces from this time to this time, I'm going to save. So that is the way how you need to make your proposals, and then write the methodology, and also tell how many years it will take. So if you say that it's going to take 100 years, nobody will be interested. And if you go to an industry and talk to them, you know what they say? I want this solution when? Yesterday, not even today or tomorrow. They say, I want the solution yesterday. So that is the way how the time is. They'll say, oh, if you would have given me this solution 1 year back, I would have got this much of profit, or I would have solved these problems. So thus, you researchers have to solve these problems yesterday. So thus, keep a watch on your time, and then do it successfully. Now in the research process, you have to go through all these steps. So these steps are very, very important, and the way how you go through that makes a lot of impact. So the first one is define the problem. You know, defining the problem, how much time it will take for a research scholar? Any idea? Yeah. Any idea how much time it will take to define the problem? So usually it takes sometimes 6 months or even 1 year. But once the problem is defined, it will go through very smoothly. So we have some of the scholars who took even more than a year to find out. But that's because if you don't discuss with your research guide regularly, that is what is going to happen. See, the guides actually, they can look it from a higher perspective, and they have a better idea about the research field. So thus, always the first advice we give to the research scholars is, you go and discuss with your research guides regularly. The students or the scholars who meet their research guides regularly will have a steady progress. And if you don't meet your guide for 6 months, 10 months like that, we see there is no much progress. So the first one is define the problem. You interact with your guide, you look at the literature, and then study, and then come with a statement. So that is called the research problem. Then we also actually need, literature review means I am putting it in the second place, but that is not right. Literature review will be there even before defining the problem and even toward the end. So don't say that I did my literature review 3 years back and I am going to write the thesis now. Nobody accepts it. We expect that you should have the references which are there. If you are doing it or submitting the thesis in 2025, September, I expect that you should have a paper even up to August which should be referred in your thesis. So thus, though literature review, we have put it there, but it is not restricted to that. So it should be throughout your research. So remember that. Then formulate the hypothesis. So that is what we call it as the research methodology. So you make the research methodology, which I already said, make a flow chart which will be understandable. And then what I advise my research scholars is that whenever you are coming for a progress report, so all the parts which you have finished, you make it green, and then others you put it in a different color, saying that this is in progress and this is yet to be completed. So that gives us a snapshot of what you have done, what you are going to do, and what is the work in progress quickly. Okay, and also you will also feel, oh, my all boxes are becoming green. That means I'm going to finish all the work and I'm going to get the degree, and you feel that kind of a progress and achievement in your life. Then the next one is research design. So where you have to formulate the solution for that, and that will be different for different areas. So for a mechanical, it might be different. For civil engineers, it might be different. For computer science, IT, humanities, or other fields, it may be different based on your problem. So you need to decide that research design and how you are going to solve it. And the next step is, most of the research, it involves collection of data. So for mechanical engineers, it may be by conducting the experiments. For those who are working with AI, ML, artificial intelligence, machine learning and all, you need to have huge amount of data. So how do you get it? So there are some websites like Kaggle and other people, even NASA. So they give some of the data in the public domain. So you can collect that, and then you need to use that. Or you may have to conduct the experiments. Or some people may have to do a survey. You need to prepare a question paper, talk to different people concerned, and then consolidate that data. So all these things will be there. So collecting the right type of data is very, very important. If your data is wrong, then everything else will go wrong. Then another important thing is that, what do you do with that data? So if you look at the machine learning and artificial intelligence kind of an areas, you will have like 1 million points or 1 million data sets. So what do you do with that? Analyzing that is very, very important. Like even if you take the finance markets, or maybe a data about the traffic or anything, you collect it. So you need to put a plot properly and then see what is happening, what is the variance, or what is the mean, or what is the average, how these things are moving, what is the trend it is happening. What is a trend? So how it is going to go? Is it going to increase or decrease, or it is going to be a loss or a profit? All these things need to be analyzed. Now, thank God, we have a lot of softwares so which are able to help. But a caution, you know what students will tell? Sir, I have 1 million points. I have put it into this software and it gave me this. And then we'll ask, how did you get this point and why it is high there and why it is low here? Sir, I don't know, sir. I don't want research scholars to tell that. So that is called as a black box method. We don't want you to do a black box research. See, take a simple data. I don't need 1 million. Take one single data or maybe 10 sets of data, plot it with a hand or use your own simple methods, draw the graph, see the trend, try to find out why it is there. You write a formula, make hand calculations, or a simple, use a computer. I don't say no, but you understand the formula, problem, and then say, oh, this is how it happened. Then you give 1 million or 10 million, I don't worry about it. Okay. So thus, be careful when you are analyzing the data. Use the right techniques. So for this problem, this is the right technique. Use that, understand it, and then analyze it. So many people will say, sir, my software gave these results, I am projecting it. No, we don't accept it. And I don't want all the million data points, I don't want you to calculate with hand. But one is good enough. Understand it and then do it. Yeah. The next one is interpret and then report the results. So that is very crucial. So you need to interpret, you need to understand, you need to analyze, then you say why this is coming up, why it is like this, then write the results and document them. So these are all important. For research scholars, another advice which we give is that what you are doing is important, but that is not that important. Why you are doing is more important. You understand? What you are doing is good, but why you are doing is more better. Now, for example, I took the automobile. So if you say that instead of using the regular steel kind of a material, I will use titanium as that. Then I'll ask, why are you taking titanium? Why can't you try other materials? Okay. So some people say, I have done like this, like this. Yeah, it is all very good, beautiful. You have done a lot of work. But why did you do that? Why you selected this material? Then you have to say that, so the density of this is this. So the weight of this vehicle will be like this. So this is the yield strength. So it is the ultimate strength. So this is how it is going to resist the corrosion. So this is how it is going to withstand the load. And all these explanations which you give, I appreciate your work. So always remember that why is more important than what. Okay? Why is more important than what you do. So every time, every step of your research, explain why you have done this. Sir, I have conducted 100 experiments. Why did you conduct 100? You say that, sir, the range of this is so much, but I'll not be able to conduct 1000, but I have selected in this way so that I did a design of experiments and I can conduct only this many, and that would be good enough for me to give the complete knowledge about that particular system. So thus that why is important. So research scholars always remember why. Why is more important. So there are several details how you are going to go about, but we don't need to look at them. But we'll see some of the few steps which you can follow in formulating your research problem. So the first one is identify a broad problem, then dissect the sub areas. So when you identify a big problem, you cannot address all those things. That's not possible. If I say that, okay, I'm a mechanical engineer, I'll do my research in manufacturing. No, you can't do in manufacturing. In manufacturing, there are several areas. So you have to come down and dissect and say, so this is what I'm going to do in that main area. Then select the interested sub area. Then raise a research question. Why are they doing like this? Oh, why they didn't do like this? So, children, they will ask, Daddy, why moon is on the top? So they'll ask, can we go to the moon? Or they'll say, why this color is blue? Why it is not red? When you go to a sea, they will ask, why it is blue? Why it is not looking white? Sea should look white, no? Why is it looking blue? Yeah? It is? Scattering? Okay, of the light. Yeah, so you need to think like that. For every problem, whatever you see, oh, what happens if I put this color as white rather than maybe light yellow or something? So you have to think like that and ask yourself why. Usually as an examiner, we ask why. But before as an examiner we ask, you have to question yourself and get the answer. So that will be a beautiful research. Next step. Yeah, the next one is formulate the objective and then assess the objectives, then double check it and then go ahead with your problems. So thus always you need to be careful when you are formulating your research problem. So that is the first step. And if your first step is right, elders say, when your first step is right, your whole journey will be right. So thus remember this first step and then move forward. Okay, some more tips about how do you do your literature survey. So nowadays there are several sources how you can access your literature. But for our times we didn't have this kind of a comfort. If I want to get a literature, there are times we went to the IASC Bangalore library, sat in the library right from morning to evening till they close. So we read those, take the journals. On the back side there will be the names of the papers which are there, contents. So we look at that, okay, this is relevant. Then open those pages. So write down, because when you go to the photocopying, they say for one day we only give 20 pages, not more than that. So 1 or 2 articles, remaining thing we write down with the hand, come back, enter into the computer, and all those things were there. But now for you, with the click of your computer, so the university would have subscribed and you get all the papers and you can do your literature. But you know what? The difference between the old method and the new method, nowadays, research scholars will have hundreds of papers in the computer, but nothing in their brain. Okay? They say that, sir, I have studied 200 papers. No, they won't even say studied. We downloaded 200 papers, sir. Yeah, where show? Oh, they'll show all the files. Very good. What did they say? What was the solution for this? They say, I don't know, sir. And then they start opening the paper and then say, I don't know, sir, where it is. We'll say, okay, go and come tomorrow. By the time you come tomorrow, some other questions will come. So thus, you can download the papers and keep in your computers. That is good. But unless it is in your brain or in your mind, you won't get new ideas. Okay? So thus, don't make literature review just downloading the papers, but read it, understand it, have a notes, Note it down so that when you ask something, you can quickly go back and get that paper and see where it is. Maybe mark it. We used to underline in the papers, but now you can mark on the computer itself so that you can quickly go to that and tell from where you have picked up a particular point. So literature survey is very, very important. Look at the academic journals, books, conference papers. Nowadays, governments and other research organizations are giving a lot of data and information. So use all those things and then collect the data. So these are some of the sources, as we said. So some people, if you don't get the literature, so you may have to conduct a survey or talk to the people, conduct the experiments, observe some of the things, and then get the information. So all these things are part of your literature review. And the next important step which I want to explain is that the data analysis techniques. Do you know any of the analysis techniques? Have anybody used in your masters? Any of you have used? So nowadays everybody are using the AI ML techniques with artificial intelligence and a lot of them. So like support vector method or regression methods, or like you have random forest algorithms. So like this, they have several. We also have the traditional methods. So where we have statistical analysis methods. So then we have the tools for that. So you analyze it properly. And the very important thing is that collection of data using the right analysis techniques, and then visualization and communication is very, very important. So if you have conducted experiments, like maybe you have conducted 25 experiments, you can give the data in the tabular form. That is good. But how do you understand those numbers? Instead of that, if you write a plot for that, isn't it easy? You write a graph for that. So it is more easier. Nowadays, we have such a beautiful tools which are there. You give a data, you get a beautiful graph, not only 2D, 3D, or even much better. But earlier, you know what we used to do? We had a draftsman. So we plot them on the plot, then take it to the draftsman. He draws on a transparent paper, then you make a copy, and then we send it to the journals. And we used to send a hard copy of this. We take 3 copies, bundle it, go to the post office, post it. It will take 15 days to reach the journals. Then we get a reply after 3-5 months. So then we revise it and send all these things. But nowadays, you just sit on the computer, upload your papers, all those things are there. So thus utilize the tools which are there, appropriate to your work, and then make the visualization of the results, and that will be good for communication. Then interpretation of the results. So when you have those graphs, it is more easy to imagine why these things are happening and then to interpret them correctly. So sometimes you may need data cleaning. We call it as a pre-processing. So always there will be what is called as outliers. Okay. If you conduct 10 experiments, so one may give an odd result, but always I say that don't neglect that. Okay. So you look at that. If you really find that it is because your instrument was not connected properly, or if there is some mistake, you can remove that. Okay. But if it is really happening like that, you need to investigate that. Otherwise, you can remove it. So thus, pre-processing of the data is very important. So we need to pre-process that, and then you have to analyze the data. So thus, data analysis plays a very, very important role. Another very dangerous trend, what is happening these days is that people doesn't follow the ethical rules, and plagiarism is playing a very, very negative effect these days. Have you heard any papers which have been withdrawn? You know, once you publish, it comes in the newspapers also. Sometimes the big names, people with a big name, so they say that there is something wrong, and then you need to withdraw the paper. So that is a shame for the research scholars. So whether you get the results or not, whether you get a PhD degree or not, whether you have spent 5 years or 10 years, don't worry, but never do plagiarism or try to manipulate the results. So always remember this. So if you do that, that's not only a shame to you, but for the whole research community. So remember, as a research scholars, be sincere in whatever you do. So you are going to succeed finally, but it may take time. See, if you sincerely do it, you may take 1 year to conduct the experiments. But if you manipulate, you may get it in 6 months. But that will have a much negative effect, not only in your PhD, but even later in your life. So thus, be sincere. I remember a story which used to happen in the Renaissance time. Do you know how this word sincere came? You know what is sincerity? Any idea? Any English research scholars are here? Humanities? No? Now they don't lift their hand because I'll ask them the question. Okay, it looks like during the Renaissance period, the crafts they make, they make the sculptures, okay, like a human or other things. So they are very time consuming. So they have to take a chisel and then take a stone and then you make the shape. Think that finally you made everything beautiful. You're trying to make a nose. And then when you just hit with the chisel, this part chipped off. You know what you'll do? If you are a sculptor, what you'll do? Huh? If they are really sincere people, you know what they do? They discard the whole thing and restart again. They might have spent months of time, but they don't mind. They do it. But there were some people who don't want to do that kind of a thing. And it looks like they take wax, and then they put it like a shape, and then it looks as if the nose is very perfect. People will buy. When they take it, finally, after some time, the wax melts, and then the defect can be seen. So thus, when people were buying it, you know what they used to do? They'll come in the morning, they look at a statue, oh, very nice. They don't buy. Okay, come, lift the statue or the sculpture and then put it in the sun. Okay, they'll go back, come in the evening, look at that, and then they will buy. You know what will happen? If they would have put wax anywhere, not only at the nose, maybe some parts, so it all will melt away and the defects can be seen and they are not going to buy if it is defective. But then it is very time consuming. So you know what the very sincere sculptors used to do? So they do a statue and below that they sign what is called as sign serra. Have you seen these kind of things in some of the toilet fittings? That brand name is there, sign serra. Sign serra means, the meaning is no wax. Whenever a sculpture writes that signature as sign serra, the man don't need to test it. Like we have ISI brand. So when they test it, they put ISI symbol. That means it's good. So you don't need to worry. Even if you buy an electrical device, it's not going to give you a shock when you touch it. So that means ISI is a standard. So that is the way how they used to sign. They write there like sign serra. And then that became sincere. So thus, be sincere. Whatever efforts you do, be sincere. But never try to manipulate the results. So this plagiarism has played a very bad role in history. There are several examples. I don't know whether to give or not, but don't do that. And ethical approvals and informations and consents are sometimes necessary. If you are dealing with biological parts, even one of our students wanted to check with the blood samples. So if you are taking a goat blood, they have some permissions needed. But if you are taking a human blood, so there are ethical committees which you need to get the approvals and then you need to do the research. So do the research ethically and sincerely. So then you are going to succeed. Okay, there is a examples like this. When we were children, we are used to copy in the examinations. We copy from the people who are beside you just look like this and write. And nowadays, in the papers, it happens like that. In case you are taking example from somebody or from some paper, don't hide it. Many times our scholars also do. So they do something and tell as if that is their idea. No, it would have been there 10 years back, some paper. They don't mention it. No. if it is there, you mention, and whatever improvement what you have done, you say that. Sir, this is what they have done. I am going to improve it like this. But never hide and say as if I am doing it for the first time. Okay? So be sincere and always acknowledge the papers which already have done. And people think that if I acknowledge that, so my research is going to lose the value. No. Your value will be there when you say what improvement you have done. By hiding, it may be there for a time, but you are going to lose it. So thus always acknowledge. And also sometimes copyrights are there. Please respect that. Okay, don't take all the papers and upload in the website, and also they have some copyright, so give careful heed to that. Okay, so there is a example actually from South Korea, so where they have done the research in embryo cells, creating a human embryonic cells by cloning. But then later they have found that that was not right, and then it became a world news. So things were withdrawn and a lot of problems. So like that, even today it is happening. So I don't want to show those examples much, but always remember that it is a disgrace to do the plagiarism for the research scholars and the whole research community. So keep it in mind. Nowadays we have the softwares. I don't know what softwares are there. Turnitin. Okay. So there are several softwares which are there. Always when you are going to publish, you put it there. If you don't do that, even the papers which are going to be published, those people, publishers, will check that. And if they say that, oh, these are all been repeated or copied from here, so that doesn't look good. Even in literature review, earlier, if you take a sentence from an abstract of another paper and put it here and give the reference, they used to accept. But nowadays, they are not accepting it. What they tell is that you read this paper, understand, and write it in your own sentences. Don't just copy that sentence and put it here. Okay? So be careful about it. So don't just lift the sentences and put. Understand that and write in your own way and still put the reference. Even when you are taking the pictures, the diagrams, so you are supposed to write to the publishers. So write to the authors and get their permission. So always remember that. Otherwise, you redraw those pictures but still refer to them. So this is the principle which has been explained in this particular paper. So remember all these things. So then only it will be good for you. Okay. Any questions till now what we have done? Any questions? Yeah, we have another 15 minutes. 12 o'clock. Yeah. Yeah. So if you have any questions till now, you can ask. So another 10 to 12 minutes is there for us. Any question? Yeah. Need a mic?
Sir, could you please explain about what is the difference between research problem and research gaps? Is there any difference, sir?
Yeah. See, research gap means what we do is we do the literature survey. And then we say that these are the things which are not done. This is done and this is not done. And then research problem we formulate based on the research gaps. Because they didn't do this, I am going to do this. Sometimes the research gaps may be 10 gaps might be there. But according to you, you may not be able to answer all of them. You may say, so the first 3 aspects of it, I am going to solve, and then you are going to make your research problem. So gap is what is not done. Research problem is your problem, which of these points you are going to address. So you may address all of them, or you may address only one of them, or maybe 3 of them in a particular category. Okay, the material properties alone I am going to analyze, and then you are going to define your problem.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Any other question? Anyone? Yeah. Okay, so we are also going to look at some of the aspects. How do you write the papers and how do you present them? So in the conferences or wherever you are going to present, even in the review. So that is very, very important. You need to have the skill of writing. If you say, I can't write a paper, so we don't accept. So thus, you need to have these writing skills and presentation skills. So presentation can be in any form, sometimes as a video or in a presentations like this, or before your review committee, or before the examiners, defense of your thesis. In all these things, these skills are very, very important. So now, when you write a paper, first you need to give a beautiful title, so that will make the people who are going to read in the future very catchy. You know, if you give a nice title, they look at that, oh, they won't get the curiosity to read that paper. So if you don't give it properly, they will not get attracted. And then writing the abstract is very, very important. So these days, when you look at the title and then when you look at the paper, we may not have time to read all of the paper, and that may not be needed. But if I want to understand what is there in the paper, abstract should be good enough. So write a concise, very short, but beautiful summarization of all the work. And I don't want to call it a summary, but you write the abstract of it in such a way that somebody who doesn't read the whole paper should be able to understand your work and also the results. Okay, so thus write a abstract. Then introduction is very, very important. See, like in this kind of a conferences, when I start my talking, if I give a good introduction, people will listen the next part of it. But if I don't do that, you won't even care for it. So introduction is very important. So give a beautiful examples, practical examples, and then write the introduction so that people will get the curiosity to read your paper. Then literature review is very important. How do you write your literature review that makes an impact? Report it correctly. Don't hide anything, but report as it is. Then at the end of the literature review, you need to write the research gaps and the methodology which you are going to use it. So then explain your methodology, how you design it, how you have collected the samples, data, and then how you analyzed. All those things should come in the methodology. Then your results and discussion section. So where you have to say these are the results and this is the interpretation of it. Don't simply give a table and a graph and just leave it. So you don't say, you readers, you understand it. No, you have to explain that and then give why this point is more, or why this is less, why this is flat, or why this is behaving like this. All those things you need to do. Then discussion part, you need to correctly interpret, and then later you need to write the conclusions, and also there will be a scope or recommendations. So always that scope part, you know what the new scholars will do? Always they'll read a paper and go to the scope and see. Then the scope will tell us what we can do next. Okay. So thus you also, when you write a paper, you have to write the scope. Maybe the next generation of the research scholars, maybe under your guide or somebody will look at that and they can move forward. You can say that I have conducted only this one. I have done only 2D analysis. So in the future, we can do 3D analysis. So like that, you need to write the scope. So you have to give the references, represent them properly. And if any appendix are there, so some data which may not be important for the main paper, you can give it in the appendix. If people want, they will look at it. Otherwise, the paper will be complete even without that. So that is called as appendices. Don't give the important main data in the appendix. Okay. So the paper should be complete without the appendix. But if somebody want to know more about it, they can go into that appendix and then look at it. And the presentations are very important. So I think last week, no, it's few days back, we were checking some of the presentations. You know, they write with this kind of a font. Can you read this? Can you read this? No. So here actually the screen proportion is slightly different from the screen of this. So when you look at this, you can't read at the bottom. So thus, whenever you are giving a title, use 48 font and more. Okay, so that is the guideline. And then the main text can be around 36. So that will don't make it like 100. So then only one sentence will be there in a slide. Make the right choice of the presentation fonts and the sizes properly. So depending on where you are going to present, you have to make that properly. And selecting the colors is very, very important. If you put this kind of a colors, do you like it? See, if you look at red, actually the examiners or people will get angry. Okay, and then they'll start shouting at you or asking the questions more rudely. But if you have a very gentle and pleasing colors, so they actually mellow down. So when you're writing a viva or an exam or a review, put very gentle colors so that people there will be pleased with you. If you give such kind of a bright colors, they'll be angry. Okay. So avoid such kind of a bright kind of a colors in the background. So this, no. So then even this kind of a colors not recommended. So it is not good. Don't combine this kind, because reading is very, very difficult with these type of colors. So no. So use maybe a simple colors like white and black contrast, or some people like putting black background and putting white colors. So that also gives the contrast, but you have to look at the mood. Okay. So the people's mood changes when you put white background and black letters, but then put a black background and write a white. So that changes the mood of the people. So depending on where you are presenting, so you do it properly. Okay. So then some simple steps when you are making these kind of a presentations. So the first one, though we have written it at the end, is important. We have seen some students, after doing 5 years of research, when we ask them to come to present their final viva, they'll come like this. They'll come, move like this. They'll turn it off, then do this. It'll move fast, then go like this, then come back like this, then do all kinds of things. When you look at that itself, we know that you are not very confident. Walk confidently. Come and stand there. Don't move unnecessary movement. Don't push this, push that, or do all those kind of things. Sometimes these things will give trouble, but don't worry. But still be calm, composed, be confident, and then look straight into the examiner's eyes or the people's eyes and then present. Don't look like this and keep presenting, or looking only like this at that and then present. No. So sometimes you may have to look what is there to see that, but still present it in the right way. You know, some people, when they take the mic, they'll put like this and they'll talk. Okay. So don't do that. Keep it in the normal way. Or some people, they'll be afraid to keep the mic. So put like this and they talk, it is not heard. Just keep it in the gentle way. Use the right tone. Don't shout too much. Don't be too low that examiners will tell, raise your voice or speak properly. Don't say that. You have to put in the right way, talk in the right tone. Sometimes you may have to speak faster. Sometimes you need to stress the things. Use all those kind of tones and then speak. Okay, so be careful when you are talking. So know your audience. If you are presenting before an examiner, don't ask, do you know this? Have you understand? Never ask. Because I have seen some of the students or the research scholars asking that. If you are in front of a panel or people who are higher than you, don't ask that question, have you understood? If it is for your students, you may be a teacher for 10 years and came to do the research, but when you are presenting, you know to whom you are addressing. Okay. So if at all you want to make sure that you are understood, just look at them. Their expressions will tell you whether they have understood or not. So know your audience and speak. And presentation, even my students yesterday also, they are preparing for the presentation. You know, they brought a PPT and telling. Then they say that, why didn't you put it in the slide? They say, I'm going to explain. No, you cannot explain what is not there in the slide. And sometimes when you go for an interview or something, there won't be enough time for you to explain. What you want to explain, put it in the slide. Okay. So if they don't have time, if they give only 2 minutes, initially they may say you have 10 minutes to present, but finally they say only 4 minutes. What are you going to do? So you show the slides. If they are proper, anybody can understand in just a second. Okay, when I look at a slide, I can understand what it is. Okay, so thus put all your thoughts in the paper and don't think that I'll simply give a simple diagram and then try to explain. No, give everything in the presentation clearly. Then create good visuals. If it is videos are possible, make it. Animation is there, you make it. Give good figures, sketches. If your PPT is good, your presentation will be obviously good even if you don't speak. Okay. Sometimes you may be afraid to speak, but your slides will speak for you. Okay? So make your slides and presentation good. Okay, clear, proper words and expressions, right tone and pitch, body language and confidence. So that is very, very important. But you know, many times you'll be under tension, but there are some tips which I'll give you to make you to be comfortable when you are presenting if you are tensed. Put a little smile in your face. Don't come like this and then try to do. So don't be very serious. So nothing is going to happen. Okay. So if you are going to present something wrong, what is going to happen? Sky is not going to fall. So just come confidently, calmly. Put a little smile. Don't laugh like this. That may look awkward before the examiners. Just a smile, not a laugh. So come comfortably, put a smile. So that will give you little comfort for you and helps you. Then breathe. So if you think that you are too tensed, take a breath and start. And sometimes, water helps. So if you are really, we have a qualifying exam. We call it as a comprehensive exam. What do they call here? Comprehensive. So if they ask a tough question, what are you going to do? You just take water and drink. So then they won't, and use that time actually to think for the answer. Sometimes if you are writing on a board, if students ask a tough question, you know what you do? You just take the thing and clean the board as if you are going to write something, you are going to write the answer for that question. You go clean the board. So while cleaning the board, when you are not facing the audience, you get more ideas and answers. Okay. So thus, even as an examiner or comprehensive exam, if you are tensed, so just take a break, rub a board, drink water, do something which is permitted and which looks gentle and it doesn't show that you are trying to escape the question or something. So use that. And sometimes notes is very important. I always tell my scholars, so keep a notes. If they are asking a very important question, if you don't know the answer, you better write down. Okay, keep writing. Then the examiner or somebody who asked the question will feel that, oh, this person is thinking that my question is very important and he is writing down. So he won't shout at you or object for that. So you note it down, you get the idea and then you'll be able to answer. Yeah, even for your guide discussion when you are going, always carry a notebook. I think we had some of the good scholars where they put the date and then write down what guide has said. Sometimes even as a guide we may forget, but your notes will remind us. So always carry a notebook. I know you're all like Gen Z, we call, no, modern generation. So where you don't like to carry a pen or a notebook, but that actually always helps. Your electronic gadgets, no, sometime what happened when I wanted to give a speech, only it was 5 minutes. I noted everything on the cell phone. And then when we went there, exactly at the time when I'm on this thing, one call is coming and the text what is there, it's going and then call is coming. I'm trying to cut, they're again calling it, Sometime there'll be no power, it'll be switched off, your Windows will not help. So thus, computers are good, but 100% they are not reliable. Your notebook and pen always is reliable. If something is important, write down in a paper, keep it with you so that you can take it out and look when all these electronic systems fail. Okay. So thus keep a notebook, that is always good. And also when you give a time, don't stretch it, but finish it before the time so that people will appreciate and you will have more time for discussion. Okay. So finally, we'll look at something. How much time we have? We started a bit late, so lunch is from 1 to 2, isn't it? 12 to 1, yeah, right. Yeah, we'll take a little time. So I have said already all these characteristics of a good researcher, and you have also said, and you have come here because of these things. The first one is, you should have some curiosity, When you come and talk to the guy, don't come like this and talk, but you show some they call it, enthusiasm. So curiosity to know. So you ask some questions that will make the guide also interested and then tell so many things. So have curiosity and then have commitment. See, the research journey is not easy one. So there'll be obstacles. There'll be times where you don't get the results. You work day and night, no results will come. So guide will be asking, you need to present a paper, no results are coming, but still, if you are committed, then only you'll be able to move forward. then critical thinking should be there. When you look at something, like Isaac Newton noticed the apple falling, you have to look for those apples in your research. Okay, so look for something which is very important. So when you get that apple, you can get your research done. So have a critical thinking. And competence. Competence means, so whenever you are assigned a job, you should equip yourself and have that knowledge. So when some people say you make a PPT, means they say, sir, I have never used, I don't know how to make a good PPT. Don't say that. If you don't know, you please learn. Okay, so don't simply say that I have not studied this, or in my college they didn't teach this concept, or I studied in a village, there were no computers, but now everything you're asking me to do in computer. Don't say that. Whatever you may be, wherever you have studied, whatever is your background, what you don't have, acquire that. That is important. You may say, sir, I don't know how to do the coding. No, I need the coding for analysis of data, or 1,000 points. You cannot do it with hand. So you should know the program, or you should know how to handle the software. Now everybody are writing codes in MATLAB, Python, C++ or anything. So you need to have at least one skill in the programming. Don't say that I am mechanical engineer, I don't know programming. No, you have to know it. Okay, so thus, if you don't have that competence, learn. Then perseverance is very, very important. So you need to work sincerely, but still you won't get the results. You don't get the appreciation. Sometimes, you work the whole night, for day and night, bring the results and show to the guide. He says, oh, these are all no use. These are all not useful. Then what do? You should have that perseverance, go back and then do it again. Many times when I make these final Viva presentations, they'll say, no, this work, we have done it 10 years back. So what is there in the new in your work? When you say that, you don't have to get upset. You can show what you have done and how it is better than what it has already been done. So thus, research work, if you don't have patience or perseverance, you will not be able to go to the end. Have you seen the marathon runners? Which is more important, starting or ending? Starting, you may have all energy. Today you are very happy listening to all these talks. Oh, you may say, I'm going to do the research. But when you go to the lab and work for 5 years, still you didn't get even a single paper, your guide is not happy with you, your review committee has cut your scholarship, no money in the house, people in the family, they are telling you get married or take a job and then help the family, and all these problems come at that place. There it is very important. If you leave that, you are not going to get the goal. You are not going to reach the goal. So that last step is very, very important. So you have to push yourself, hold on to what you have done, and then move forward. Obviously, we need the God's blessings to do that. So move with a perseverance and move forward. There is, in the management, there is an analysis which is called as SWOT analysis. Is there anybody from management here? Anyone? Okay, you are from management? No. Okay, so they have what is called as a SWOT analysis. So which says that what is your strengths? So what is your weaknesses? What are the opportunities you have? So what are the threats? So all these things, every research scholar have to analyze. I said competence. Competence means, so whatever the weaknesses you have, whatever the abilities you don't have, don't say that I don't know this. You can learn. If someone else can do it, you can do it. Now third standard, no, okay, not third standard, at least 7th, 8th standard people are writing Python codes. So why can't you write? You may be a mechanical engineer, civil engineer. You're not circuit branch or you're not computer science, but still you have to write that. So take time. I thought I'll give you an exercise for you to do that, but I don't think we have time now. So you can note it down and then you write a diagram, SWOT analysis chart for yourself, and then you analyze yourself, and whatever are your weaknesses, you try to address them so that you'll have a competence and confidence. Okay, I'll end finally with a story, because I said the life of research scholar will be a story. So whenever you go through tough times and difficult times, you just laugh out and then go. Looks like Einstein was traveling in a train from Princeton, a city in UK, and he was going in the train. I think the trains in UK look similar to our old trains because we got that system. And the ticket collectors, they call inspectors, they'll come, take the ticket and then they punch it. I think you'd not have seen in the bus also conductors used to have like a hole will be there, they'll punch the tickets. So when Einstein, I think he delivered a lecture and then came and sat in the train. And when the TC came, the ticket collector inspector came. So this person actually didn't had the ticket, it seems. So he searched his top pockets, it was not there, coat pockets, it was not there, pant, it was not there. Then he tried to open the zip of his bag and then he was searching for that. Still he didn't get it, seems. So the ticket inspector was standing there and then he thought, okay, it's okay, he looks like a very gentleman. Those days videos are all were not there, but so he said, okay, looks like a gentleman, maybe would have bought but misplaced. So then he said, okay sir, no problem. And then he went ahead, it seems. Then when he was actually about to cross that coach, he turned back, the TC turned back and looked. But still, Einstein was searching for the ticket even below the seat, sitting on the floor and all. Then he got annoyed and then he came back and told it seemed, sir, I know that who you are. You are very great person and I am sure you would have bought it. No problem. Then you know what Einstein answered? He said, it seems, young man, I too know whom I am. But what I don't know is where I am going. If I get the ticket, I'll know where I need to get down. Otherwise, I don't know. So sometimes your research journey, it will become like that. You'll forget all the things, where you are going. And it may be all confusing and you don't know what direction to take. But don't worry. So you're going to reach your destiny. So take all these challenges as a good things. They teach life lessons, not only for research, for your life also. So they'll be a blessing to you. So with this, I take this opportunity to thank you for taking time. Can you put the slide? Yeah. So thank you all and wish you all the best. Thank you.
Scholars, if you have any questions, you can interact with Professor. If you have any doubts, if you want to interact, you can. So now I request one of our scholar to give a memento to our Professor Samuel, sir. Do you have any questions? I express my heartfelt gratitude to Professor Samuel sir for providing us a comprehensive and insightful overview of research. I think Professor covered right from the beginning till the end of a research scholar journey, right from knowing your problem statement till the presentation tips for your final Viva examination. He covered everything. And sir said that first step, it's a very important step in any research. So I also feel that first session is very important for any program, and I hope all of you agree with me that sir has created a strong foundation for our induction program. Thank you, sir, for that. And he also mentioned that why we are doing is most important than what we are doing. That's not only for research. I feel that it is also for your life. So with this quote of Professor, why you are doing is most important than what we are doing. I once again thank you, Professor, for spending time with us in spite of your busy schedule. Thank you.